In today's video, I'm going to show you how to update the Janome CM17 to the latest version. Hi, I'm Kim Jamison Hurst of Chatterbox Quilts. Recently, as a matter of fact, at the time of this filming, in April 2024, Janome has come out with a new update for the Janome CM17, and that is version 1.10. And before I get into any details, I want to thank Janome Canada for allowing me to use the Janome CM17 so I can show you how to update it. So let's talk about what is included in this update. There are two major things. One has to do with how quickly the machine starts up when you have it in resume mode. The second thing that the update is going to do is help you find your embroidery files a little easier, I think. So right now I have my USB stick in here and I'm going to go into my embroidery mode. I know I don't have my embroidery module attached, but we'll just fool the machine, right? Okay, so when I'm in this mode, I want to take a look and see what's in my folders. So there's a couple places. One will be things I've got stored in the machine, and another one will be files I've got on that USB stick. So let's go into my folder at the bottom here. And you can see up here it's automatically going to whatever I've got in the sewing machine right now. So you can see that there's this EMBF file, and I can go into there. Then I have a filigree file that I've set up, and I have a design, okay? So I had to pop through a few folders before I could find that. Now what if I go to my USB stick that I've got plugged in here? I have an EMBF file there too. And I have an M17 folder. And then I have some designs in there. So I have to go through different files. So after the update, I'm interested to see how this is going to appear because it's supposed to be a little easier to find your embroidery design. So I'm hoping that I will see some of them outside of those folders instead of having to go through them. So we'll just see what it does. Okay, getting ready now. A couple things I have to tell you. So I'm going to turn my machine off because that's where we're going to start. Now you might be wondering what version your Janome CM17 is currently running, and that's a really good question. I doubt that you've done this update yet, but let's just check. So when I turn the machine on, you're going to see the version at the bottom here. So let's take a look and see what I've got on this particular machine. All right. It says version 1.01. So I know that I'm running on the old version. Now, what if you didn't see that version number? Because it disappears once you get back into things. Okay, and there's my resume mode wanting to come on again. Okay, so how do you find that if you didn't see it there? Well, it's not that difficult to find. You go up here, you click on the three lines here, or what we call a hamburger menu, and you can see it says machine information, and when you click on that arrow, it tells you what version you're running. So it's always a good idea to check that out before you try to update your machine, okay? That's the way to make sure that you are running on a version that needs to be updated. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about it, right? Okay, so we'll come off this. So to start off with the update, there are some files you need to download. And the first thing you're going to do with your machine is turn it off, by the way, okay? So you just turn it off for now, that's good. So where do you find updates for your machine? Well, that's a good question. So Janome Global, and if you look in the description below, I'll put a link in there. So on the Janome Global website, you will find information about your machine. So when you go in there, you will see this is what the site looks like. So when you first go into the website, you will see something that looks like this. So you're in the Janome Global website. And there's lots of different areas to go into, but what you want to go into is the product information area. You can see that along the top. Okay, once you're in that area, you will see the machine owner's information and updates. Okay, that sounds like where you'd find an update, right? That's where you're going to want to go. And then once you're in there, you're going to see a list of different sewing machines. And the top one is the M17. So you're going to click on the right red arrow there, and you're going to go into the next box, and that is going to show you all the different updates. So the top one you see there will be the most recent one, and you can see it says Continental M17 update to version 1.10. So when you go in there, there's a bunch of more information. I know it's a lot of file folders to go through, but this is where we're finally getting to the meat of things here. So you can see when the version was released. So this particular one we're talking about, 1.10, release date was April 17th. And it tells you again that it's for the Continental M17 owners. And it tells you what are some of the improvements in there. Now, you'll see there's 3 different PDF files there. There's an installation instructions, there's how to unpack a zip file, and there's also methods for formatting USB flash drives. So it's a good idea to download those, open them up, and give them a read through, especially the installation instructions. That's a very important one. I'm going to be walking you through this today, but it's a good idea to read it through so you'll have an idea of what you're going to be doing. And it says there, it's very important that you read and understand the download and installation instructions before proceeding. Otherwise, the update may cause damage to the machine. It would always sound so threatening, doesn't it? Well, let's just download them and read them, shall we? You'll notice there's a little box there, and it says check this box to indicate you have read the above instructions. So once you've downloaded them and read them, click on the box, and then that will activate that red download button. So you will not be able to download the software update until you have checked that box. So once you've checked it, you will then be able to click on the red download, and it will bring in all that information that you're going to need to update your machine. So it's going to come in as a zip file, all right? So you have to unzip it. If you don't know how to do that, there's that document that you can read on how to do it. For myself, on a Mac, all I have to do is double click it, and it will open up. And when it opens up, you're going to see lots more information, I should say, some PDF files there. Now you're going to notice there's a whole bunch of PDF files, and really what they are is instructions in different languages. So if you read and speak English, you'll be wanting the EN1 there. So just open that up, and that's your installation instructions. So that's an important document. There are other languages in there like French and German and Spanish as well, if you need those. The other thing I want to bring your attention to in here is the update.bin file. And that is the one that we are going to need to work with the machine to actually update it. So now you've got everything downloaded. You've got everything you need, almost, to update the Janome CM17. You're going to need a USB stick as well. And I mentioned that update.bin file. You need that one. So that file is one you need to transfer to your USB stick. So you're going to put your USB stick in your computer, you're going to pull that file onto it, and only that file. Don't pull all those installation instructions over. Those PDF documents, do not pull them over, or it's going to cause you problems when you try to do the update. So one file only is all you really need to update your Janome CM17. Okay, now I did mention the installation instructions to you as well, and I said that's a good thing to read over before we get into this. I always like to have an idea of what I should be doing and maybe practice it first before I actually do the update, because we want to be successful, right? So let me walk you through this. You've got your file on your USB stick. Your Janome CM17 is turned off, okay? You would put your USB stick in the side. There are 2 ports at the side here. You can put it into either one, does not matter. And then you need to hold a couple buttons down. This is the most difficult part of the update. It's the gyrations you have to get through because it's a big machine. There's a needle up button and a lock stitch button. You need to press and hold both of those down. I'm going to use different fingers here. And then turn the machine on. So your USB stick is in, you're pressing and holding those 2 buttons, needle up, down, and lock stitch. You turn the machine on and you continue to hold these down until your display screen turns green. At that point in time, you can release and step away, okay? You don't want to touch anything while this is updating. You do not want to turn it off. You definitely don't want to pull that USB drive out. So you don't do anything except have patience, maybe have a cup of coffee or tea or something like that, glass of wine, whatever you want to do. It takes a few minutes to update. You're going to see the screen is going to be green. There should be a bar that goes across as it updates. And when it's done, it will say finished. And at that point in time, you will be able to turn the machine off, take off your USB stick, and then we turn it back on and hope everything's changed, right? Okay, so let's just go over that one more time, okay? Machine is off, USB stick goes in, needle up, down, and lock stitch button are pressed. Machine goes on, you hold until you see the screen turn green, at which point in time you release, and you just let it do its thing. So now we're ready for the real thing, okay? So I've got my machine turned off. I put the flash drive in, make sure it's in properly. This one tends to close itself a bit there. There we go. And now I need to hold the needle up, down, and the lock stitch buttons together. And are you ready for it? I'm going to turn the machine on. look for that green screen, press and hold, turn the machine on. There's the green screen, so I can now release my hands, and now I can just step away and let it do its updating. You can see that there's a line here. It says update 1 of 4, and that blue line is going to come all the way across, and then it's got to go through the rest of them, 2, 3, and 4. So time to go grab a cup of coffee, glass of wine, some chocolate, whatever you want to do. Walk away, don't touch anything. Whatever you do, do not pull out the USB stick, do not turn the machine off. Okay, I'll see you when it's finished updating. All right, we're almost done. We're on update 4 of 4, and it's just moving along. A few more seconds, and we should get that message we're waiting for. Yay! It says finish. It's crossed the finish line. And by the way, that took about 5 minutes to do, just so that you have an idea of how long the update takes. All right, so at this point in time, we turn off the machine, we take out the USB stick. So the file you have on here and you have on your computer, that update.bin file, you should now trash that, take it off your computer, take it off your USB stick, and all the other PDFs that you downloaded onto your computer as well. You won't need those. Next time an update comes, all that information will come out for you again with the appropriate details, so you don't need to have that on your computer or your USB stick. So now comes the moment of truth, where we turn the machine on and check for our version. So let's see, we're going to be keeping an eye on the bottom area here to see. And you see it says version 1.10. So yay, it was successful. Now we want to see what it did, right? So while I'm here, I'll just give it a moment to get itself all set up there. I'm going to go into the embroidery area and take a look at those file folders. So I'm actually going to take my USB stick. I do have some embroidery files on here. So I will put it in the machine. Just get it locked in there and get it in the machine. There we go. Didn't want to go in at first. Okay, so I'll get it in there. We'll go into the embroidery area, even though I don't have the embroidery module on still. Oops, there we go. All right, and I want to look down in the folders at the bottom here. Let me see if I can change hands so you can see better. All right, so now on the sewing machine, you can see all my folders that I have are now there, okay? Before I had to click through different ones and I couldn't see everything. So I'm still having to go through some file folders, but I can see what folders I have there. And if I had other embroidery files are outside the folders, I believe they would show up. Let's just see what's happening. Yes, so I knew on this particular, on the USB stick, I knew that I had some that were outside of the folders. So I wanted to see. So before, when we were looking at it, we would have the embroidery folder. I think that was, you had to keep going through it. And I don't know if we had the ORD folder. I can't remember now. But anyway, you can go back here. With that little back arrow, will take you back out. So you can see these here, whereas before, they didn't show up at all. Hard to find them. So there they are right there. So it's a little easier if you don't have some of your embroidery files in folders. Before we kind of had to have them in folders in order to find them. Now you don't. You can just drag them onto your USB stick and they will just show up there if they're not in folders. So that's great, because before, very difficult to find them. All right, so that's one thing. That's great. Let me just go back up here. Whoops, sorry, I have to close this off. Hard looking at things from the side, right? Okay, let's go back into my ordinary sewing mode. Okay, we'll go okay. There. It's going to click off the embroidery mode. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out. I don't need that. And I want to go over and see what's happening with this resume mode now, okay? So the other thing I want to check is the resume mode, because this is supposed to be faster now. It used to be kind of a hesitation, a buffering when you stopped and started again. So let's see how this works. Okay, and I'm going to start again. Oh yeah, so that's a lot faster. Okay. Not that you need to see my stitching, but it looks rather nice, doesn't it? So yes, before there'd be quite a hesitation before, you know, when you would stop and you'd start again, there'd be quite a hesitation. But now with this new update, I can see that's working much quicker. But I really like the fact that you can find those embroidery files because, oh my gosh, that was always such a difficult thing to do. I knew they were there, but I could never find them. You're going through all these folders. So that's a really good improvement on the CM17. I hope you found this helpful and that you'll be able to easily update your own Janome CM17. If you're having any issues, your local Janome retailer is always a good person to contact for additional help. If you are not already a subscriber to my Chatterbox Quilts YouTube channel, please subscribe and remember to hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. And for more helpful quilting information, be sure to go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.